Hello, History and Heritage Explorers. In this next series of videos, we're going to be exploring some of the historic sites of the American Civil War. So please sit back and enjoy. Hello, boys and girls. Welcome to History and Heritage Explorers. Today we are in Baldwyn, Mississippi at the site of a major Civil War battle called Brice's Crossroads. So please sit back and enjoy while we learn about the history of this battle.
Hey, History and Heritage Explorers. Elliott Witt here again, historian archaeologist, high school teacher here in Baldwyn. This is at one of the tail end parts of the battle. This is where I mentioned the artillery charge down the hill there. Down past them trees, up the road was where Captain Morton, charged his artillery battery up the old crossroads, up a road that run right behind me, close behind me of the old crossroads. And that open lane behind us is not only a walking tour for tourists and battlefield enthusiasts, but it's also an approximate line where Captain Morton lined his artillery battery up to force fire on the Union route down the hill past this fence. There were 18-inch guns, a massive barrage. And I couldn't imagine being a Union soldier or anybody running from and terror and fear of what you thought is a superior force with more manpower and artillery power, not only trying to get across a bridge in a very deep, very hard current creek with the rest of my men, but also having Confederate troops sit upon this ridge firing musket balls at you. Artillery pieces from right to left firing artilleries at you. I mean, you can only think about what that would have felt like. Now, up here closer was where some of the main artillery of Captain Morton was. And after this, I'll actually show y'all some pictures of what the wagon train looked like. Now, as you'll see right here, this is the terrain and landscape of the Battle of Brice's Crossroads. This is actual map that's at the Brice's Crossroad or Mississippi Final Stand Interpretive Center of what the layout of the land was. As I said earlier, it was thick. These trees were significant, and is also a symbol not only of one tree but numerous trees in the area. So where we were a while ago was right there. These trees, nobody's going to draw 1,000 trees. So they're going to draw big trees, and in the legend, it actually signifies multiple tree coves. So it was very thick. You had a small field there, a small field there, a small field. Like I said, just a few small fields. But where we are at right now is right there. We're on the Tishomingo Bridge. It connects and it runs up the Pontotoc in New Albany and down Ripley. We put up this fence here to signify where Captain Morton himself placed his artillery at. I wish it was winter, you could actually see this a lot better. If you're standing right here, where we're standing on the spot where Captain Morton fired his artillery battery over and over again at a retreating Union Army. That bridge was not there. Thick, small field. If you can see the bridge right on top of the grass, that's the same size, dimensions, length, and width of the bridge, Tishomingo Bridge, on June 10th, 1864. Now imagine, if you will, thousands and thousands of men in blue, wagon trains breaking at the wheel, horses trying to get across, horses trying to get wagons, men who can't get on the bridge trying to wade through Tishomingo Creek chest high with high currents, while you have Confederate after Confederate shoot volleys of musket fire at you and volley of artillery fire at you. You don't know whether your next step is going to be your last. You're just praying and praying hard that you can get across that creek and back to the rear and the reserves so you can form up a defensive position and counterattack. Unfortunately, during the route, they never got a chance of that. They did not only did they go back to the supply line and reserves, they kept going. And we'll get into the 55th and 59th in a minute. But I just wanted to give you guys an aerial view, a high advantage point of what the Confederate artillery and Confederate foot cavalry saw that fateful evening on June 10th, 1864, when they took advantage of a retreating, scared, routed Union Army over a small bridge. Hey historians, as well again, we're on the last two parts of our tour of Brice's Crossroads. These monuments are put up from here, 10 miles down the road, and 10 miles south. They were erected in 1957 during Governor J.P. Coleman's term in Mississippi. But these really give us a simple explanation of the battle and the occurrence of the battle, the line of movement, the line of battle as it pushed forward and back. But here is the Tishomingo Creek Bridge. This is the worst situation moments of the Battle of Brice's Crossroads for the Union Army. Retreating wagons blocked the bridge. General Forrest captured 200 wagons, 14 pieces of artillery, and hundreds of men. Artillery fire from the crossing killed hundreds of Federals here. The crossing is right there in that ridge between those two trees. That's where the crossing was. That was the artillery crossing. And from that position, they fired relentlessly, along with infantry fire, onto the Union white troops, wagons, supplies, horses. They scanned this whole field. Now, it wasn't just here. And that's where some people may get confused. The bridge was so narrow that whoever was lucky enough to cross the bridge did. But before long, the bridge was compact with people it's like imagining two people trying to walk through the door at the same time. It's very hard, very uncomfortable. So Union troops with horses and wagons panicked and broke off from the retreating column and spanned all the way down the creek line that you can see to the left, the creek line you see to the right. They spread out, hoping they can escape the Confederate entourage. But as we saw earlier on the crossing ridge, the artillery was all the way lined up on the right, attacking the main column. The Confederate infantry lined these hills, sniping at individual, trying to take out as many Union soldiers as they could. Now, as a veteran myself, that's a hard thing to do. Because even if you're at war, your enemy is respected. It's a human being. So ask yourself, could you sit on that ridge with a cannon and a musket, and could you fire upon people who are running for their lives? Would you feel okay doing that? But that's the thing about the times. These men, both North and South, were at war for 4 years. There was a lot of bitterness, a lot of hatred amongst each other. So let's don't judge them too quickly. Let's try to understand the person and why the acts mean the results. But I digress. Sorry. Well, General Bartru's flank movement. As I said earlier, the 2nd Tennessee is the flanking movement that General Forrest sent that caused the rout. Because remember, earlier in the battle, there were 4 columns of foot cavalry who would move at lightning speed on horses, get in the woods, dismount, and move on foot again. And it caused panic amongst the Union ranks because every time they saw this new entourage, this new arrival of Confederate troops, they had no idea it was the same they faced down the road. They thought it was a new reinforcements of infantry. So Forrest had them on the run. He had them confused. Sturgis has left the battlefield. The Union commanding general has left the battlefield at this point and fled to Ripley. He sent the 2nd Tennessee flanking the Union forces, creating havoc amongst the white and, of course, it says Negro soldiers, but as I said, this was created in 1957. Soldiers of General Sturgis' command. So the Union soldiers and the Union cavalry and the Union colored troops and white troops were holding their own fairly well. Now the battle was against them and they were being pushed back slowly but surely. But when the 2nd Tennessee cavalry came across that ridge line right behind us, the artillery barrage was attacking Union forces. Then, from the right flank, the entire regiment of cavalry on horses came burling down the tree line, the woods, the fields, running right into the Union Army. And at that point, all chaos invokes. Men throw down their weapons, they throw down their pillboxes, they leave their artillery. So, that's all I got to say. Let's go to the bridge for a second. Sorry.
History and Heritage Explorers would like to give a special thank you to Mr. Elliott Witt for his assistance in making this video. Remember, boys and girls, if you'd like to learn more about the U.S. Civil War, please go to your local and school library. There are many books available. Please like and subscribe and share this video, and thank you from History and Heritage Explorers.